Hi everyone, hope you're well and welcome to week 49 of the GuitarQuest lessons. Just a quick heads up, I've got a warning that's come up on my computer about streaming, so I don't know what's going on. Hopefully you can hear it okay and it's all coming through fine. But if you are experiencing issues, then please let me know. I might have to look into that and we might have to come back and try again, but fingers crossed it's okay. So, yeah, it's okay, perfect. We will crack on. So, let's check our tuning first. So here are the strings as usual. B string, okay, and then finally top E. Okay, good, right, hopefully those glitches are behind us and we can move on. So just a reminder with posture, however you're holding the guitar, just try not to let it slide away from you like that, because that does make it more difficult. Try and keep it as upright as you can. And we should be good. Sorry, I just noticed I've got some stuff on my jumper which looks weird. Okay, ignore that as well. One of those days, I think. So, we are going to start off with a warm-up of exercise 16. So that is the D major scale. It's on page 12. And we're going to play it in a couple of different positions. So we're going to start off in the second position, which is how it's written in the book. So I'll just demonstrate quickly. So we're going to go D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, and then back again. All the notes are crotchets, so just nice and steady. Second position, meaning our first finger's lining up at the second fret. Okay, and here we go. Okay, so 3, 4. Okay, cool. So that is second position D major. Now we're going to try it in the first position. So it means we're going to move our hand back. So our first finger is lining up at the first fret, which means we're going to be using the middle and the pinky fingers on those first few notes and so on after that. So if I just demonstrate again. So here we go. So let's go pinky at the F sharp, then middle finger, up to the third. Try it together. So after 4, so 3, 4. Cool. Okay, so that's our warm up. That's a D major scale. Remember, scales are kind of like the fundamental building blocks of music, so well worth knowing. So yeah, just sort of try and get to grips with that. In future lessons we will talk about how we can play scales a little bit more, well, like a movable shape. We can just move up and down the fretboard, which kind of opens doors a bit, in the same way that learning certain chord shapes can make life a bit easier as well. So, but it's good to know it from kind of first principles as well, because you can kind of relate things, you know, what am I playing, you know, if I'm playing something here, how does it relate? And so on. So knowing the fretboard is really good. Okay, let's go on to number 17 then. So this was just chord practice rather than anything like notes based. So we've got the chords G, C and D. So just very quickly, our G chords, just like that. So that's middle finger 6th string 3rd fret, first finger 5th string 2nd, and our third finger 1st string 3rd. You could go 2nd string 3rd with that one and add the pinky to the 1st string 3rd. That's up to you. Both are the same, very interchangeable, so whatever works for you there. Next up is C, second string first, fourth string second, and fifth string third. We're going to try and strum from the fifth string. I should say with the G we can strum from the sixth string actually. And then D is the final chord, and that is middle finger goes first string second, first finger third string second, and third finger second string third. And then we strum from the fourth string. And hopefully you get that kind of sound. If on any of those chords, any of the notes aren't quite sounding right, it's probably that you need to try and get your fingers up on the fingertips a little bit more. So particularly on the C, like you might get that kind of thing. So it's like, just can you get those fingers up a little bit more so they're not catching the string sort of floor side of where you've got your fingers down. But yeah, let's give it a go. So number 17, let's take it away after 4. Okay, so 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 to C. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4 to D. 4 and back to G. So 1, 2, 3, stay on the G a bit busier. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to C. 2, 3, 4 and D. 2, 3, 4 and back to G again. Okay, cool. Remember as well, we can do our little, we talked about this the other week, your hand here and just kind of gradually fold it over, and it will just kind of fade the sound out, which always is a good thing. You know, you've got control over what you're doing, that's kind of what you want really. So, so yeah, if you find it difficult with any of those chord changes, just try and persevere with it. There's no sort of magic thing that you can do that's going to make it any easier as such, but determination. If you're determined to do it, you'll find a way, and it can take a long time, you know, and it's not always what people want to hear, but that is true. You know, I've taught some people in the past to pick it up really quickly, and then others it just takes a little bit longer. So wherever you're at on your journey, know that there's been a lot of people who've gone through that same process before, and you know, you get there, it might just take a bit of time. So just persevere and you'll be fine. So, okay, but let's move on then. So number 18. So this one we're playing in the second position still. We've got all our Fs are played as F sharp, and we've got a few hammer-ons to think about and discuss. So I'm going to play it. We talked about this last week. But I want to go through it again in a little bit of detail as well. So if I start playing, and it's when we get to the second line, that's the bit I want to kind of dive into a little bit more. So from the beginning, we start on the G, we use our middle finger, we're playing open D, hammer on with the first finger, so we play D and we push that finger down without re-plucking the string, and we hear the note. Hopefully that's what happens. If you don't hear it, it's probably you need to push down either a little bit more forcefully or possibly a little bit a faster movement in that finger. If you push down quite slow, you'll sort of kill the energy in the string first, and then nothing will happen. So it's got to be quite sort of well timed, enough force, enough speed, and hopefully you should get that sound. So yeah, so that's the beginning. So all quite similar there. Then we go to the third bar, we're going to move our fingers across. So we've got the C, 5th string 3rd fret, and we do the hammer on from the G to the A. So exactly the same principle, and that's kind of same kind of thing there. Now, as we get on to the next bar, bar 5, this is the bit I wanted to talk about. So this is a bit more difficult, and so what we want to try and make sure is that we keep this first finger down when we do the hammer-on. So if you find yourself doing this kind of thing, and as you hammer this finger down, this one sort of springs away, then basically try not to do it. So that's the message. So again, easier said than done, but if you allow that finger to ping away, if your timing is slightly off, you're just going to have extra issues that crop up. So you want to try and keep that finger down, and it's the same with pull-offs if you're doing it the other way round. Like say you're going from the 4th fret to the 2nd fret, you want that finger down first. You don't want to be trying to time it such that as you play that note, you try and get that one down as that one lifts off. You want it to already be in place so that you basically got less to think about. It is a bit more of a stretch on your left hand, so you do have to kind of factor that in. If you find it too much of a stretch, you might find maybe something like that happens. Ultimately, as long as you get the sound right, it's fine. But from a technique point of view, if we can keep that finger held down, then there's less to go wrong, there's less to think about, there's less coordination problems. So hopefully it should work. So a question, do we keep the first finger on the A when playing the B? Yes. Yeah, so if we play the A, hammer on, get that 3rd finger down, what goes on this side of the B, which is this note here, you know, we could have 3 fingers down, for example. It makes no difference because the bit that's vibrating that we're working on is between here and here. So what goes on this side is completely irrelevant, really. But we want to keep it on for that kind of coordination thing. And also because a lot of the time we're going to go back to that note. So if we, for example, in bar 5 here, we go D, then A to B, and then we do it again. So hopefully it sort of makes sort of sense that actually from a kind of a finger's efficiency point of view, keeping that finger down means you've got a little bit less to think about. Whereas if you're doing this, you've got to be thinking about every note rather than kind of just 2 of the 3, if that makes sense. So it also is good technique to build because if, for example, you wanted to do more than one hammer-on or more than one pull-off, for example, like that sort of thing, which is quite common in guitar playing. Not necessarily those notes, that's just an example, but the more we can keep down, then the smoother that's going to become. If you try and lift off, you might lose the energy in the string and that kind of thing. So it's sort of about building technique as well as we go. So hopefully that makes sense and hopefully you can manage it. So that's kind of the main challenge of the piece, I think. So why don't we have a go at playing from the beginning all the way through. Let me know how you get on. Remember, if you want to put a comment on about this, or if you've got a question in particular about that hammer-on, there's a chat function there, so please do fire away. Yeah, just remember you've got to be subscribed to be able to put a message up. That'll be the only thing. So, but yeah, let's give it a go. So this is page 13 of GuitarQuest 3, starting on the G with the middle finger. After 4, we'll take it nice and slow. Okay, so 3, 4. 3, 4 to the C. 3, 4, then the tricky one. Keeping that first finger down if you can. And back to G. 3, 4, stay on the G, to C, to D, the A to B here, back to G. Okay, good stuff. Give yourself a pat on the back if that went well. Similar to chords, you know, I mentioned before about as you play chords, you know, if it takes, you find it's not quite happening, the changes, you just persevere with it, be determined with it, and you will get there. Same with hammer-ons. So if you find you're getting, once you can do it, it's actually quite hard not to do them, believe it or not. So, so yeah, if you find it's just not quite happening at the moment, just keep persevering with it, because you will get it, as long as you kind of persevere and you're determined to do it. Yeah, and like I said before as well, like everybody who's played any guitar, who, you know, if they tried doing hammer-ons, they would have gone through that journey of like, why is it not working? I did, you know, and it just eventually you get it, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm doing it, it's good. So yeah, just see the message saying sometimes I get it. Yeah, exactly. Keep working on it. Yeah, and the thing to remember as well is if you do it once, even say it's 1 in 10 times, you've still done it once. So with over time, you know, maybe it takes a couple of weeks, but then maybe you realise, oh, I'm doing it 2 out of 10 times, and then maybe 3 out of 10, and so on, until you get it right pretty much every time. You know, barring just kind of lapse in concentration or something like that. So yeah, that's it's good techniques, good stuff to work on, and if you keep that finger down, build the right technique, it will definitely help you for future playing. So cool. Okay, so let's move on then. Unless obviously there's any questions, please do feel free to fire away, but otherwise we're going to turn the page. We're going to go on to page 14 and start looking at the ideas here. So we talked briefly at the end of last week about similar to the B, where we're finding it on the 3rd string, 4th fret, we can find any of the open strings apart from bottom E on one of the other strings. Excuse me, and in fact you can find a few of them on different strings, but we're only going to worry about one for now. So if we take our top E string, we can find that on the 2nd string, 5th fret. So, and if you think about the notes on the 2nd string, for example, we've got B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp. The next one would be E. So once you start knowing the fretboard or understanding the fretboard a little bit, remembering every fret is a semitone, then it sort of becomes kind of logical. So we can get an E there. B we know, G, G sharp, A sharp. We can get to B at the 4th fret. The G, see, if we were in a private lesson I might ask you, but that's it doesn't really work so well on a live stream. But we can work the same process. So our 4th string is D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, and then eventually get to G, which would be at the 5th fret. Same on the 5th string, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, and then D. So just seeing a question has come through, which one do you play with the same finger? So if you're working that kind of thing, like B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, I'd probably just use the little finger twice. It doesn't really matter because we're just kind of working through that process. I don't want to say you'd never see it, but usually when in guitar playing it's quite logical. So doing that kind of thing is quite common. To go beyond that would then would perhaps require thinking about what's coming next. But for what we're doing, it's just, you know, you could do the 1st finger twice. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, so we've got E there, 2nd string 5th, B 3rd string 4th, G is 4th string 5th, D is 5th string 5th, and A we can find 6th string 5th. So it's always the next string over and up 5 frets, apart from when you're going to B on the third string, it's only up 4 frets. And that's just because of the way the guitar is tuned, which we can sort of dive into that a bit more at some point in the future. But yeah, so where we're at then with this is that we're going to have a look at exercise 19, and we're going to find a lot of these open strings as fretted notes instead. So if I in fact bring this up onto the screen, I've just got to sort that out. Hopefully you can see that now. So on exercise 19, we're going to start with the D here. As you can see, the number up here in the circle, the string in a ring, that's telling us we're on the 5th string. So we know D is normally an open 4th, but now we're going to find it on the 5th string 5th. And because we're in the 2nd position as well, our pinky finger should line up quite comfortably there. Then we've got E, F sharp and G. I should have mentioned we've got 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. So E, F sharp and G, they're all on the 4th string, so we know the G we can get on 4th string 5th fret. This kind of thing's same, so D is 5th string. Obviously we haven't written it in again. The assumption is once you've seen it once, you can sort of figure it out and do it again. So it's nearly the same, D, D, E, F sharp, and then back to the D. Again, I'll play this to you in just a second. Same kind of ideas here, same kind of ideas here. Notice the G there, we're going to play it as an open string, and we know that because we've got that little 0 next to it. So that's the other thing just to factor in. So all these numbers here, the string in a ring, they're telling you what string you should be playing. So for example here, we've got the A, B, 3rd string, all these 3 notes, C sharp, D and E on the 2nd string, and then F sharp, G, F sharp on the 1st, and they'll all be 2nd and they'll be 3rd. And same kind of ideas down here, but obviously we haven't got the string in the ring written above. So there requires some thinking about in terms of like, where should I find it? And for example, on the last line, we don't want to kind of just go back to finding the notes in the normal playing position, because the whole point is to try and work on finding some of these notes elsewhere on the fretboard. And in fact, as the book progresses, we start moving up the fretboard a little bit more, and we start finding more repeated notes. So, so that's sort of where we're going. But let me demonstrate then. So we start on the D, 5th string, 5th fret, then the E, hopefully we know that, F sharp, and G, 4th string, 5th. Then we're going to play that kind of idea again. But we're going to go back to the D, 5th string, 5th, 2, 3, 4. We're going to hold it down. Oh, sorry, that should be 4th string, 5th fret. My apologies there. Then we do have an open B. And back to the 5th string, 5th fret. Then we're going to go for an open G. And as we come onto the 3rd line, we're going to get A, 3rd string, 2nd. B, we know, 3rd string, 4th. And then we come onto the 2nd string, so we've got C sharp, D, E at the 5th fret. Then we go up to the F sharp on the 1st string, G, 3rd fret, and then we're going to hold that for a beat, and then we come back. Then we've got the E. Remember, we're going to go 2nd string, 5th. So even if you find it easier to find the open E there, which you probably would find easier, try and get to that 5th fret, because it's just going to, it just works on these ideas really. So we hit that E and we keep coming down. We've got D, C sharp, then we've got B, 3rd string, 4th, and then the A. And then the next line, same kind of ideas. So A on the 3rd string, B on the 3rd string, 2nd string notes, C sharp, D, E, and then 1st string notes, F sharp, up to G. And then we've got our DCL coda, so we're going to go back to the beginning, play the first bit again, up to the G at the 5th fret. back to the fretted D. We're going to drop to the coda, so we just come back onto that 5th string, 5th fret. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to play it again in its entirety. Please do feel free to try and join in if it makes sense. And we'll see how we go. Okay, so after 4 then. Okay, so 3, oh, just move back a little bit there, sorry. Okay, so 3, 4. Up to the 5th fret, 2, 3, 4. Back to the 5th string, 5th, 3, 4, we stay there. 5th fret for the G, and open B. G, 3rd line for the A, F sharp and G, 2, 2, and A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, G. Go back to beginning, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. We stay on that note. To the open B. Down to the coda, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Okay, so let's pop that tune on so you can have a listen to it. So if I bring that music up onto the screen, so number 19, isn't it? Okay, hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Okay, cool. So that is that one. Quick questions come through. Last line, does it have the same fingers as the 3rd line? Yes, it does. Yeah, all exactly the same. So it would be A, 1st finger, B with the 3rd finger, C sharp, 1st finger, middle finger for the D, pinky finger for the E, F sharp with the 1st finger, G with the 2nd finger. And that was as far as we went. So yeah, we try and keep that all nice and consistent. So, but yeah, I think that's going to be a good place for us to finish up today. So we got there in the end after a few technical hitches at the beginning. Yeah, it's good. So things to work on then. I would suggest next time we do exercise 17 as a bit of a warm up. Which is the chord kind of G, C and D thing. So we'll work on that and then we'll go back over exercises 18 and 19. A little bit more explanation about finding those open strings on the frets and stuff, just so it hopefully makes sense. Yeah, and then we'll get on to number 20 as well. Which is just talking about moving up to the 3rd position. So I've just seen a question that's come through saying, I'm new here, can you tell me what's happening? So yeah, basically this is a live stream guitar lesson. We are on book 3, so we've been through, this is lesson 49, so in the previous 48 lessons we've been through books 1 and book 2, and if you see on the right hand side you've got the QR codes which sort of show you where you can get access to those books, or drop me an email if you're unsure. All my details will be on my YouTube channel, but basically we just work through the books, and we do a little bit each week, and everything we do we kind of build on what we've learned in the previous weeks and that kind of thing. And the aim being that by the time we get to the end of this sort of series of lessons and things, like, you'll know how to play guitar, you'll understand the fretboards, you'll have a lot of chords down, and hopefully you'll have a very thorough foundation in guitar playing, and which is basically that's what the goal is. So so yeah, hopefully that explains it. Like I say, do feel free to get in touch if you've got any questions. Best email, I think it's probably, I'd have to double check. I think it's live stream lessons do you know what, I'd have to double check. Sorry, that's my bad. But if you go on to my YouTube channel, and which is just at DavidHerries, and you should find all the information there and links to websites and things like that as well. So another question, do I know Indian classical? I don't, I'm afraid. But if it's written in standard notation, then going through this course will mean you'd be able to look at it, read it and interpret it, and hopefully be able to then play it yourself. So that's the advantage of doing this kind of thing. You know, hopefully I'm giving you that foundation, so that you can kind of, whatever music is put in front of you, you've got a good chance of being able to make sense of it. So Indian music is so broad, it's a big ocean of music. I imagine it is. I know a tiny bit about it. I would not profess to be an expert by any stretch. So, yeah, like I say, if you get the foundations down, you should be able to then interpret it and play it. So, but yeah, thank you for the questions. Yeah, the music foundation is the same. So, yeah, so it doesn't really matter what instrument you're playing. The foundation stuff, you could, whether it's piano or whatever, you can look at that and read it and be able to play it, hopefully. So that's the beauty of music notation. It's universal across all instruments to a certain extent anyway. So but yeah, I'm gonna have to finish up there for today. So thank you for the questions, and hope you decide to come back next week. I've been through what you need to practice, so that's all cool. So if you enjoyed the lesson, please do give it a thumbs up and share it around with anybody you think might be interested. So one more question's come in. I have a guitar and also play guitar, and say I know so much about it, but I'd like to learn with you. I'm still in the learning stage. Awesome, yeah, please do. If you go onto my YouTube channel, if you start with GuitarQuest 1, all the old lessons are on there. So they're just these live streams. So can work your way through if you've got any questions, and you know, you can put them underneath the video and then I can get back to you, that kind of thing. But yeah, generally the live streams are 6:15 PM UK time, half an hour on Thursdays. So if you've got a reasonable understanding so far, you'll probably be fine to jump in on the classes now, or you're very welcome to anyway. And yeah, otherwise you've got all the older stuff as well. So yeah, and they are more or less every week, but they do follow roughly the school term times as well. So so we've got one next week. Actually, it's half term the week after, believe it or not. So probably skip that one, and then there'll be a few weeks where we're back on it every week. So that's roughly the plan. But yeah, we'll have to leave it there. Like I say, if you've got any questions, please do get in touch, and otherwise I'll look forward to seeing you all next week. So have a brilliant week, best luck with all the practice, and I will see you soon. Okay, take care everybody. Bye bye.